Good morning, traders. Sorry about the delay. It's 8:02 a.m. Chicago time, Wednesday, June 11th, 2014. Thanks for joining. Trading futures, options on futures and foreign currency involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. My personal opinions, market data, and recommendations are subject to change without notice. Past performance is not indicative of future results. So a quick rundown of the overnight news. What's driven the overnight session, European session. Key element that has pushed the European treasuries around, two key elements actually. ECB's Hansen came out and said that the ECB already introduced substantial amounts of measures important to advance technical preparations of future possible measures. And this is a key. The ECB should explore QE as an option on the shelf for possible use. So this may be what Draghi was alluding to during last week's conference, as far as there's a lot more that they can do, coming out and speaking about QE in the open for the first time, an ECB rep. The other thing that pushed the market around, especially the DAX, is that Lufthansa came out and it cut 2014 and 2015 operating profits forecast. That sent a reaction through the market. UK April ILO unemployment rate lower, 6.6%. 3 months consensus was for 6.7%. UK April average weekly earnings missed. Expected 1.2, got 0.7. For those trading energies, Saudi oil minister expects rollover of the OPEC output targets. They don't expect them to change. Oil prices between $95 and $110 per barrel are good for them. The World Bank lowers 2014 GDP forecast. Global growth expected at 2.8%, prior 3.2%. That's 40 basis points. It's a substantial drop. And then finally, U.S. Treasury's Liu says U.S. economy progress needs to reach more workers as unemployment's too high and growth is still too slow. Not sure if he has something in mind based on that comment, or if he's setting up for something with regards to that comment. Looking ahead on the daily releases, at 9:30 Central, crude oil expecting negative 1.5 million barrels, distillates plus 1 million barrels, and gasoline plus 1 million barrels. And then we have 1 o'clock, we have our U.S. monthly budget statement, the expectations for negative 131 billion. BOE's Broadbent is testifying or speaking at the UK Parliament hearing at 1:45 Central. That may affect those trading the gilts and some European products, although this is after the cash close. At 12 p.m. Today in the U.S., in Chicago, U.S. 10-year notes auction for $21 billion. Let's look at what the market did yesterday. It's kind of an interesting day. Let's get to... Here we go. So let's run through this on the short-term trigger chart. This is a one-tick Renko. I'm going to a one-tick Renko because of how exciting the market's been. Let's change this to a two-tick here. You know you're really digging when you go to a one-tick Renko. Anyway, the market opened in range, open auction in range, tested 48.75. I'll show you yesterday's hypotheses so that you can put this in a correct frame of mind. So this is yesterday's homework. I believe I posted an image of my hypotheses on Twitter, but this was yesterday's hypothesis. You can always review these, of course, on YouTube. Just go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/FuturesTrader71. You'll see all of the Trader Bites there. The primary hypothesis was looking for an early test higher and chop before continuing higher to 1950. And I'd mentioned yesterday that 1948 being the value of the prior day and a significant level in the overnight session, that's an area where I'm looking for failure, which was in hypothesis 2. But hypothesis 1, looking for an early test higher, then I expected to chop. in the lower end of the range of Monday's range, and then expectation is for it to continue higher to 1950 to close the point of control, to Monday's point of control. Expecting chop for a while before upward trend resumes. Okay, that was a primary hypothesis. Secondary hypothesis: failure at 1948 could give us a rotation down through the overnight low and push towards 1938.50. If you recall, the overnight low is 44.75. Otherwise, might push to close the gap and then find sellers there if there are any sellers. The gap was above. So what the market ended up doing yesterday is it tested to 48.75, so 3 ticks through that 48 that I'd pointed out, pushed to 45.75 to put in the opening swing, swings back up to 48.75 to the opening swing high, and then finally it breaks through the overnight low, which was in Hypo 2. So we have Hypo 1 here, Hypo 2, and then it pushed to 43. 43 saw a really nice taper and a secure low on the largest rotation of the day, 5.5 points up from the low, back into the opening swing. When we get back into the opening swing, the expectation is for the other side of the opening swing to be tested, back into the opening swing. And at this point, the market had a very, very weak high. So we have a double top at the IB high, initial balance high, or the high for the session, comes back up for an even weaker high, pulls back to the mid of the session right here at 46, and then rotates and 1 ticks the high, making us anticipate a failed auction. Although this was a very, very weak high, not just a normal high. So a 1-tick failed auction rotates through, and then as soon as it starts to move back up towards that high, the failed auction possibilities off the table. Failed auctions generally 1 tick and drop like a rock. It didn't do that. It just sat here. Rotated down to 45.25. Just an odd rotation there. Sat sideways, back to 49, pulls back to VWAP, up to 49.50, and then we finally get the push to 1950 to fulfill what was expected under hypothesis number 1. Okay. Tight value area at 3 points. We only have a 3-point value area. Very, very tight market, as you already know. A lot of people are writing about that. So the market played out Hypo 2 first, and it played out Hypo 1. Strong buying delta on the close. Look at this delta, just very, very strong lifting on the offer into the close. Same as what we saw the day before, and actually for several days. See these strong buying deltas at the very end of the day. Buyer at the end of the day, pretty much for quite some time now, a couple weeks. So we got that. There's a 30,000 contract swing into the close on the delta. 30,000 contract swing on the delta into the close again here. So just repetitive but very peculiar behavior. The day type is normal variation day, which is the most typical day type. Balanced profile. Note that the point of control is below the. This is the first time in a while that we put in a lower point of control. So I'm giving a lot of these details because I'm not here to give you an answer. I'm here to go over the market and help you see it in an auction perspective, which is what it is. But you see the point of control moving up here, boom, 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 and then yesterday for the first time we have a point of control that is lower. We have a lower high, lower low. One time framing up has ceased in the ES, so we're seeing some selling pressure finally based on yesterday's trading, although it bought into the close. But then we go into the the overnight session, and we see that just like the day before, here's that buying delta on the close and drift down. So same here, buying delta on the close and it drifts down, but a lot stronger. Yesterday we're starting to inch towards that 1938.50, 1938 area, which was a key measured move before. and is a naked point of control and closing price. That's the target below. We have a weak low on the overnight session. And note that 45.75 is the mid of the session, is an LVN with a key LVN behind it at 46.50. So to me, given that value is also at 46, to me, I'm going to look to the short side. My primary hypothesis is to the short side unless we breach 46 today. 46 is the key area. I'm looking for a lower low on the open. I mean, for the overnight low to be taken out on the open, given the conditions here. This is a long liquidation profile. 168,000 contracts traded, 166,000 contracts traded. At this point, we expect around 200,000. So volume is still fairly light. Very little gone in the overnight session, but that's how it's shaping up. Very thin and trendy profile from the point when the European markets open. Remember the Lufthansa news. Lufthansa is the first of the key DAX index companies and a key company within the Eurozone to announce that it's going to miss forecasts for 2014. So the market didn't take that too well, and here we are going down. Okay, it would be very easy to squeeze the longs in this market because there have been so many of them. The market's heavily stacked in one direction. Again, I'm not saying you should get short and hold a bearish view. We've seen what happens when when people take that view. But it's definitely, there's more risk, I think, on the downside at the moment until the market corrects, builds a base, and comes back up for a more sustainable long. So that's my primary hypothesis. Looking for the market to open, looking for responsive buyers back up towards 46, looking for failure at 46 or before. For a rotation down, looking for 1940 to break either early or after the test up, targeting 1938. And I want to remind you that below 36.50, 36.25, we have a very thin profile area and a single print at 1928, 1929.75. A failure at 38. So if Hypo 1 does play out and we get to 38.5, the expectation is for it to either bounce quickly for buyers to come in as they see those prices as cheap with the trend, or if we see it settling here and starting to rotate, any break below 36.50 will target 29.75 below. Alternatively, I'm looking for that's Hypo 1. Hypo 2, or plan number 2, is a chop on the open, OAOR, open auction out of range. If you do not understand any of these terms, please go to futurestrader71.com/glossary, and also check under the resources tab on the main page for the chat archive, and watch some of the old videos or look at the webinars to get up to speed as to what we're talking about here. But for Hypo 2, looking for an open auction out of range, chop, 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 chop. We don't have any numbers or anything early on, and then looking for an attempt higher, an attempt lower, possibly breaking the 1940, and then a drift up into yesterday's value. 47.50 becomes the target, and then if 47.50 holds, if it chops around 47.50, then we're looking for value high and 1950 again. That would be Hypo 2. Given the configuration of the point of control and the price action, the fact that one-time framing up has ended, for the time being, the expectation is that the short-term trend is moving from a bull to balance now. The market does not go from bull to bear. It transitions through balance generally. So we're expecting bull to balance, and then balance to selling, and a little bit of a flush or a little bit of a correction to build a better base for to sustain that long-term trend if it so wishes. I'll leave you with those thoughts. There is no potential additional risk, headline risk, Not seeing anything. There's still talk about how the Ukraine's going to pay for all that gas to Russia and so forth. They set a June 16th date, but there's nothing going on there. Still some fighting in Libya and, of course, the Syrian situation and so forth, but nothing that's affecting our markets other than, of course, crude oil with the Libyan situation. Closing remarks, same as always. Trading, don't put on a trade until you really are very clear about how much you're willing to risk to see what the market's there to give you. I posted a bunch of tweets. I strongly suggest you look at those on, I believe, Monday night, maybe. They're from The Legend of Bagger Vance, one of my favorite movies. It's a golfing movie, but it's great. It's got a lot of lessons in it for trading, and I changed some of the things said into trading commentary. And I'd like you to find those and look at them. The market's not here for you to beat up or to slay. It's not a dragon that we look to slay. The market's more of a surfing. The best analogy for it is more like a surfer's type of paradise, where we just sit around on our board and just paddle around patiently waiting for that wave. We see the ripples far out in the ocean. We anticipate what will happen, and then when it's time, we paddle as hard as we can to get on the wave and try to ride it for as long as it'll last. We never know when the next wave is going to come. We never know what's going to happen. And that is the thing that gets most people, that fatigues most people with this business, is the not knowing portion of it. And the not knowing and the losing are key elements of this business, and these are key elements of life that we have to accept. And as long as you temper those and the emotions that are created by those unknown factors, then it becomes a much less stressful endeavor for you to be in. Good luck to you, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.